It's at that moment that Dad enters the room. Grandma is beside him. She must have persuaded him to get out of bed to visit Sunrise, but I'm not sure whether he knows where he is or what he's doing. I can see from his eyes that he's just not there with us. Sunrise, as soon as she sees him, bursts out in sobs. "Daddy!" She wails, trying to reach him. Her shriek manages to pierce his lethargy, and, like if he just woke up, he finally sees her. His eyes, cleared from the glazed apathy, light up with a longing to hold her. But as he reaches out instinctively to receive her, just before their hands touch, a shout stops us all in mid-gesture. "Don't touch her!" It's James, who barked merely the sentence. We all looked at him bemused. "James," Dad murmurs, seeming to spot him for the first time. "James, what the heck?" "You shut up!" he barks in my direction. "And don't give her to him." "Are you mad or something?" I blurt out while Sunrise is still struggling to get to Dad. His arms are not ready to receive her anymore, though. They fell limply on his sides. And he's looking at James' wide eyes, who advance on him thunderously. "You won't touch her anymore. You will stay away from her." "James, dear," Grandma, trying to interrupt him. But he doesn't as much as acknowledge her. "I won't allow you to get close to her. She's just gonna be in danger. If she stays with you, she's only gonna pay. I'll take care of her from now on." "You are raving," I speak, disgusted. "How can you say something like that to Dad?" "How can you defend him?" he hisses, looking at me. "It's his fault if Mom died. Do you want the same for Sonny?" "James, don't dare to say such a thing!" Grandma apostrophizes him stern, taking Sunrise from my arms, who is still crying at full lungs, trying to reach for Dad. But before she can give it to him, James sprints forward and, snatching her roughly from Grandma's arms, barks in that direction. "You left Mom alone. You let her to be killed. You had to die, no Mom. She didn't have any fault. I don't want to see you ever again. I don't want you to see Sonny ever again." The only audible sound is Sunrise cries, as we are all astounded, petrified, on our spot. But I feel rage mounting very fast. How does he dare? How does he? I'm gonna smash his face once and for all. "James!" I bore with all my strength, my face getting purple by anger. "What the fuck?" "Albus, Livy." It's Dad. So steady, he manages to stop my impetuosity. He's right, Livy. "Dad is not right. It's all some huge bullshit." I must shout to be heard over Sunrise desperate howling for Dad. "He is. I'm going. She'll be better far from me. He is right." I protest warmly, but he's not listening to me anymore. He is back in his numbness. He only throws a last glance to Sunrise, who is reaching out for him desperately from James' arms. He turns under Grandma's anxious gaze, then moves fast from James to me, still calling to get his attention back. But it's clearly a lost cause. His awareness is already buried somewhere deep inside him while he leaves the room. "I'll strangle the piece of shit at the first chance I get." Fortunately for him, Sunrise present shields him from my physical wrath, but nothing can save him from my verbal one. "Are you out of your mind completely? I shout, walking threateningly in his direction, while Grandma's hand grasps my shoulders to retain me. Do you realize the condition he's in? He almost died. He has been tortured. He's wrecked to bits. And you go and tell me that it's his fault? He stared me, trying to calm Sunrise, who is screaming as if possessed, all her face congested. You are a fucking daddy's boy, he says accusingly. You don't get it, do you? The noise in the room had attracted attention, and all together Uncle George, Bill, and Ron stumbled into the room. What's going on in here? Bill asked stern. But nobody answers him. Me and James are glowering at each other, and Sunrise is still crying her eyes out, shouting for Dad. Grandma, profiting of the diversion, rushed to James, taking Sunrise from him, endeavoring to calm her down with some soothing hushing. James doesn't oppose, too taken by our exchange. That madman wanted to kill him. Mom has been used to get to him. How long do you think it'll take for a new madman to make the same connection, to use the same mean to get to him? I don't care. I'll stay with Dad, I say firmly. Surprise, surprise. He smiles maliciously. Daddy's boy. Stop it, I bellow enraged. But you are. You don't care about Mom being dead because of him. You just care about him. He spits disgusted. Rage lash and whips me so fast it catches me unaware. My mind gets suddenly crowded with Mom. Mom, who kisses me goodnight when I was little. The tickles fights, me hiding under the table while she was making a tart and her slipping a slice of apple to me time to time, as if by mistake. Mom telling me laughingly with a hint of pride that I was a Wesley through and through when cutting my hair, so like her own. And always Mom, only a few days ago, in the morgue, her hair arranged on one side, her eyes closed. I lunge toward Jim, blinded by these visions. I can barely hear Grandma gasping alarm, but he is ready. It is what he was expecting. Probably what he was hoping. Everybody else is on the lookout too. George and Bill spring forward, stopping me as I was about to grasp him, keeping hold of me. I struggle, but they won't let me go. Calm down, Bill orders me severe. George, who is keeping me likewise, stares hard at James. You know, you actually deserve a good sucking. Stop saying bollocks. You should take example from your brother. It's not your father's fault. I actually think it's quite right. This voice come unexpectedly from a corner, and as we are all so taken, it took us a good moment to understand the provenance of it. Distracted, Bill and George loosen up their hold on me, but I'm so staggered my anger had subsided fast. It's Uncle Ron, arms folded, looking darkly. Grandma interjects. Ron, this is not the moment. He humbles over us, interrupting her. James is right. Not about Albus not caring for Ginny, that's downright stupid. But he's right about Harry. It's his fault. None of us spoke. So stunned we all are. James, too, who was expecting only opposition, he staggered at first, but very soon his expression grows smug. Harry's presence is dangerous. Honestly, I think we should take distances. Uncle Bill is completely bemused. What are you talking about? We have always stuck for Harry. You, most of us all. It's not his fault. It has always been dangerous. Ginny knew it. We all know it. Things change. There is not a you-know-who threatening us all anymore. It shouldn't be dangerous. But with him around, still is. We are already paid too dearly. I personally don't want to have anything to do with him anymore. And you shouldn't either, if you care for your lives. We can take Sunrise with us, me and Hermione. She'll be safe in Romania. In good time, she will even forget to be his daughter. The same for Albus and James. They can come and stay with us over the summer. We can adopt them legally. They don't need to meet him any longer. Sunrise's cry has transformed itself in a steady whimpering, and she is sucking her thumb, her head on Grandma's shoulder, who is listening bewildered. George winces visibly at his words. Guys, hold on. This is getting preposterous. Ron, are you taking the piss, right? Are you actually saying we should abandon him to his destiny, cut our contacts, and tear away all his kids from him? No! I bellow, alarmed and horror-struck. This is all wrong. You cannot do that. I won't come. I'll come, James mutters darkly. It's perfect. No, it isn't. Grandma states severe, rocking Sunrise. You don't take away children from the only parent they have left. It isn't right. It's ridiculous, Ron. It is not ridiculous, he hisses. Do you realize how many people already died because of him during the years? Do you need some mind refreshing? Let's gloss over his parents. Ron, that was you-know-who. How can you say that? Grandma interrupts, scandalized. Excuse me? Who did you want to kill in the first place? He snaps enraged, covering Grandma's voice, making her flinch. But let's not count them, he adds quieter, realizing it. Let's see, he said, pretending to think. We had Ginny, saved by a fluke when she was 11. By Harry, if you remember properly. Uncle George interjects bitterly, slightly fidgeting, unnerved. Yes, Ron spits darkly, the tips of his ears becoming crimson. A clear sign of rage, I know, because it works the same with me. But she risked her life only to be used as a bait to get to Harry. But then we have Dickory, Sirius, because he has been reckless enough not to listen to Hermione, counting on his fingers. It is not as if you struggled so much to convince him to stay put, didn't you? Played along, followed everybody who was leading without taking any decision, didn't you? George says bitterly, through his teeth, clenching his fists, his knuckles white, his freckles even more visible on his face as he is so livid. Uncle Ron ignores him and carry on with a louder voice. Then Dumbledore, Lupin, and Tonks. And every name is pronounced louder than the one before. Colin and... Okay, Ron. This is enough. Drop it. Bill tailed him off stem, giving a swift and easy glance to George, because we all know where he was leading, and one in our direction. Uncle Ron, spotting it, shouts enraged. Let them hear! It's only right for them to know how things stand. They lost a mother. Mom lost a daughter. We lost a sister. Do you want to lose a niece next? We already lost one, George replies accusingly as I put down. And we all stare in an uneasy silence. He's talking about Lily. We all know. I swallow. Like usual, I always feel a note when Lily is mentioned. I was her favorite. A bit like James is for Sunrise. We were always together. I don't hold a grudge against Uncle Ron. Maybe I should, but I don't. Perhaps because Mom repeated so many times it wasn't his fault, I got used to the idea. Now that I think of it, perhaps she was only trying to convince herself of it through repetition. It's bizarre how only now I realized of it. But there is a strong prepossession that protects him from my resentment. He is Rose's father. I don't want to hold a grudge against Rose's father. Rose is so fond of him. I'm fond of him too. He has always been rather nice with me and James. He told us Hogwarts tale, and we could do with him all those sort of activities in the magical community we couldn't do with Dad. You lost a twin, Ron answers meanly, tilting his head on one side. You, forced, should want to shun Harry. Fred has been killed because of him, and you still hang around with him as if he's your best mate or something. I see George's eyes widening at his words, and then straight away darkening. But it's the work of an instant, because the next second, he's on him so swiftly, nobody has the time to stop him. He sucks him straight across his mouth. Uncle Ron grasps his face as Grandma shrieks, but straight away attacks back. Bill, recovering from the forced startle of surprise, lunges forward, dividing and keeping them from each other. "Pack it in! What the heck are you doing?" he bellows, upset. Grandma, leaving me quickly, as Sunrise, who is still sucking her thumbs convulsively, springs toward them with a set expression. "Boys, that's enough! The situation is bad enough without having scrapes and rows any other day. Now, both of you will apologize and shake hands." She orders, stern. They only glare at each other, and none spoke. Bill is still dividing them. "Bill, step away." Bill leerily comply, but they don't move. "Now you shake hands and apologize. I won't have this kind of behavior in my family." She's asking a lot, I reckon. It seems an impossibility. It looks like they'd rather kill each other. And for a moment, I'm sure they won't do as asked. But then, Uncle Ron, though not speaking, outstretches his hand. But Uncle George doesn't. "Go and fuck yourself," he murmurs, glowering, leaving the room. Grandma follows him straight away. Bill, pushing roughly Uncle Ron in a corner, starts a vigorous and hungry whispering scolding not to let us hear. Uncle only glowers back, clearly unnerved. James and I aren't moved. We are still in our respective position. Sunrise, in a world of her own, eyes hazed and watery, doesn't stop sucking her thumb. James steps toward me to take her. Our eyes meet, and, in a murmur, not to be heard, I state between clenched teeth, "He's our father." He looks away as he takes her. "I haven't got any father," he mumbles back. Shit, he heard everything. We haven't been exactly quiet in our exchange, and that room is just beside, doors open and all. He's sitting up on bed, elbows rested on knees, head bowed. And I suddenly feel so exhausted, so tired of all this sadness. I'm only 14. I should be enjoying myself right now. I should be thoughtless and carefree. I should be in the common room discussing brooms with mates or with Rose knocking somewhere in secret, or in class killing time until break time. I shouldn't be here, mourning for my mother, fighting for my father. James has always done the fighting, not me. I don't know how it is done. I'm not used to. I haven't got that strength. I don't know what to say to Dad. I don't know what to do. I feel so alone in all this, so overwhelmed. I rest against the doorframe, having a big breath. My eyes close itself slowly as I'm trying to gather my strength and wit to handle this situation somehow. I wish so much somebody would be here, stepping in for me. And as if reading my wish, I feel a presence beside me that gently put a reassuring head on my shoulder. Exactly what I was hoping for. A hand that tells me, "Don't worry, I'll take care of it." I open my eyes to see who's my savior, and I find Aunt Hermione there. She's not looking at me despite her hand. She's looking in front of her, where Dad is. And just as my eyes rest on her, I see her own, wide open, filling with tears. "Harry," she murmurs, her voice almost choked, full of emotion. Dad's head sprang up, hearing that voice. "Hermione." he whispers, surprised. They're both silent, looking at each other. And then it's Dad who breaks the ice. "Hi," he says, waving wearily his hand. I think the simple gesture of greeting triggers something in her, who flings toward him, sweeping him away in such impetuous hug that he's almost overthrown. "Oh, Harry," she slurs between sobs. Dad hugs her back, resting his head against her shoulder. "Hermione, Ginny," he only says. "I know." They stand in each other's arms for quite a bit, while she is clearly trying to master her wailing. When she succeeds, he throws her on the bed with him, sitting back against the wall, Hound crouching on his side, her head buried in the slope of his neck. "I'm so glad you woke up." Aunt's voice come muffled. Dad doesn't reply. He only caresses her head. I don't think he's any happy to have woken up, but I can see from his expression that her embrace is soothing and helping him more than any of my words could have done. I sleep silently on my armchair, relieved by her presence. I watch them in each other's arms, and though I'm not alone as I feared, I feel lonely more than ever. An acute longing for Rose pervades me so strongly my chest hurts. I need the same tender exchange. I don't know for how long we stay there, each lost in its own mind and thoughts. Hound stopped crying, and Dad is cuddling her, keeping her tight against him, only occasionally kissing her hair. There is a serenity, veiled with sadness, in this scene, but pleasing compared to all the turmoil we have been living, and I found myself hoping we could freeze this moment because I know this is the best we can aspire at. But unfortunately, we cannot. Uncle Ron appears to the door, and I know from his eyes he doesn't find what he sees endearing as I do. I think quite the opposite. For a moment, I'm afraid he will say something hurtful to Dad, but he doesn't. "Hermione, we need to go," he only says. They both startle. They hadn't heard him approaching. "I think I'll stay here some more," Aunt says without leaving Dad's side. "No, you cannot. I just received an owl from the Romanian minister. They want you back as soon as possible for a report, and I must work in the afternoon." "They can wait." "There was one from the English one too, with an urgent summon." Aunt bites her lips uneasy. She turns to Dad, kissing his cheek. "Write to me, okay?" she says keen. "If you need company, you will let me know, and I'll do my best to come. Don't stay on your own. Call Ted. Oh, George, don't stay on your own," she repeats, staring in his eyes. Dad nods imperceptibly, and I'm able to spot from here the anguish that dawned on him as soon as Aunt's arm unfastened from his neck. Leaving the bed, she comes to me, hugging me tight. "Write to me too, if you need," she whispered in my ear. "Remember, we are always here for you, all right?" I assent. I don't know why, but I feel like weeping a bit. Maybe because the soothing moment is broken, or because the only person who seemed to do Dad any good is going away, leaving me alone again with this situation I don't know how to handle. Tears burn behind my eyelids, but I courageously push them back. James would never have cried in the same situation. James would have known what to do. "We can go," she says to Uncle Ron. "You go ahead. I'll say bye, and I'll catch up." Aunt seems a bit taken aback by this sentence and doesn't budge. We all know Dad and Uncle don't talk to each other, so it's no wonder Aunt is perplexed. I'm, on the other side, feel a glint of uneasiness at the pitch of my stomach, guessing how Uncle's parting might prove to be not that pleasant, and I've got this urge to beg Aunt not to leave us alone. But I obviously cannot do that. I want to straighten up the situation before to go. Uncle says, not seeing Aunt move. I don't think she knows anything of what happened in the other room, so it's no wonder his words take all another meaning for her, who, throwing a last worried glance at Dad, who sitting against the wall is full back in his listlessness, approached the bed. Don't forget to write to me. Anytime, even more than once a day if you need. I'll try to come back in England as soon as I can. We are all here to help you. And pinning him in her arms a last long time, she leaves the room. For a moment we are all silent, me looking worriedly at Uncle, Dad looking nowhere, outstooped on himself, and Uncle glowering at him, a gaze so full of hate, it's scary. You won't write to her, he says with a flat voice. If she does, you won't answer. You won't try to contact her in any way, and you will refuse to see her if she comes to you. The same for George, for Ted, and everybody else. Dad doesn't answer, but I know he heard every word. I can see it in his hopeless expression. After having said that much, Uncle seems to realize I'm there, and his expression softened considerably while he walks toward me. I almost flinch when he stands in front of me despite his benevolent expression. Albus, I don't want you to think I bear ill will against you. Me and Hermione have your own good at heart. You will be very welcome if you change your mind and want to move with us. You will quickly realize that is the best option. Your dad cannot take care of you as we could do. All what he says is clearly stated in front of Dad, as if he's not even there. I side glance at him quickly, but he hasn't reacted in any way. If nevertheless you decide to stay here, it's fine. I feel my inside relaxing a bit. I was a bit worried he would have taken bad in case of a refusal. I don't want to be the case of a breach in our families. But, he continued, bringing back my attention, you will obviously understand I won't allow Rose to hang out with you in that case. It's too dangerous. I ought to protect my family. You understand it, don't you? I gulp as horror prevents me to speak. If you decide to keep being a Potter, there is no other option. I cannot obviously control you while you are at Hogwarts, but I'm sure you understand the situation and you will be the force in taking distance for her own good. We don't want her to be in danger, do we? My mouth is so dry, I'm only able to stare, gulping. It's your duty to keep far the people you love if you want to have them safe. After this sentence, an unnatural silence envelopes us, obnoxious. I'm so aghast, my whole body and mind are paralyzed. This cannot be real. This must be a nightmare of some sort. Basically, it's telling me that I must choose between Dad and Rose. Goodbye, Albus. Take care, he says, patting my shoulder. I'm sure you'll do what is best. And without even a parting at Dad, ignoring him completely, he's out of the room, leaving me there, rooted on the spot. The silence is back, leaving us wretched. I cannot choose. It's impossible. Is Uncle actually right? I don't mind about risking my life, but what about Rose? Is she really in danger if she keeps going out with me? All these questions spin in my head, but I they are just interrogatives without any answer. I bring my gaze over that, and again I found myself wanting to say something, but I don't know what. Nevertheless, I'm about to speak. I want to reassure him. I won't leave him alone, despite everything. I won't. I'll sort it out with Rose. She won't allow me to distance her. I know she won't. Not again. I'll write to her straight away. She must be informed of what happened, even though it pains me to relate Uncle's behavior toward Dad. But she must be informed that a family war has started. We will see each other in secret. This is what we will do. Yes, I'm sure she wouldn't wish me to abandon Dad. She has always liked him, despite the low moments. She always says she feels like she can confide in him, even if she doesn't understand why. He has a way to say things that make you feel better afterwards. The same as James. Therefore, I'm about to speak, but at that moment, the bloody nurse enters the room. She's not dressed as a nurse. She's wearing a fancy jacket, skirt, high heels, and all her waving mane in perfect waves is left hanging loose on her shoulders. She has got a clawy smile I don't like too. My shift is over. I thought to pass by before to go home, just in case you needed anything. She simpers to cover an annoyed look she instinctively took seeing me. We don't need anything. I'm about to hiss upset, but Dad precedes me. Yes, I actually needed you, he states, making me startle. It is not the same faltering, worried voice as before. This time it's quite steady and cold. Also his eyes are different. They got back some lucidity. His head is not bowed any longer. Albus, get out. But Dad, get out, he states firm. I shot the poisonous look at the bloody nurse, who looks quite smug without even bothering to conceal it. Close the door behind you, Dad added, once I reach the door. And the last thing I see is the nurse's victorious smile, and Dad, his gaze cold and mean, fixed in front of him. The hell I'll go away. I'll stay here outside the door to catch whatever I can. And damn me not to have brought some extendable ears. Uncle George is right. You never know when you might need them. As it is, I press my ear against the door, hoping to be able to discern something. But it's only a low buzz, the one that reaches me. After a very short time, I hear the noise of her heels getting closer. I lunge at full speed behind the trolley, just in time not to be spotted. I see her turning the corner with a purposeful air. Therefore, I don't leave my spot. I'm sure she'll be back. And I know to be right not even 5 minutes later. A brown bag is dangling from her shoulder, and looking shiftily right and left, she slips against in Dad's room. I crawl quickly back against the door. I hear some tinkling sound, very much like glass bottle being handled, some low buzzing, and then silence. A rather long silence, and then a tinkling sound, and nothing more for a bit. After what it seems to me a very long time, I hear again her heels. Fast as a lightning, I'm back in my hiding spot. The bloody nurse has got such a smugness on her face, such a glee. I have some job mastering my frustration. She tosses back her voluminous hair, and dipping from a hairbag a small mirror, she checks her face. Satisfied of what she sees, she lets it fall again in it and walk away. Just as she turns the corner, I realize she has not the brown bag with her anymore. I wait a few minutes, just to be safe, albeit I know by her satisfied grin she won't be back again. I tiptoe toward the door, which has been left ajar, and I peek inside. There is not much to be seen. Dad is simply sleeping. I push the door open, and I get in. The brown bag is nowhere to be seen. I amble over the desk to write a letter to Rose, but while at it, I found myself unable to concentrate. My head is heavily keeping dangling from my neck. My mind is so hazed that I can hardly make out what I'm writing. And I know it's no good. I need to take a nap before to be able to write anything of consequences. The emotions of the morning have quite worn me out. I slouch on my armchair, covering me with the blanket. My eyelids feel so heavy. I give in to my body's urge of closing them, knowing I'll fall asleep quickly once they are shut. Many confused thoughts and images are behind those eyelids before I can nod off. But it's Rose, the only one I see clearly, just before it happens. Noises woke me up. I don't know what time is it. Sometime during the night, judging by the darkness outside the window. I definitely overslept. I squint. I realize with some surprise the noises are made by Dad, who is walking about the room. Seeing him so active staggers me so much I'm straight away awake, wrenching away my blanket. "Dad!" I exclaim. He glances at me, quickly keeping opening and closing drawers hastily. "Do you know where my wand is?" "Yeah," I stammer, confused, darting to take it from the drawer where the few things he had on him when they brought him here were stored. He takes it from me, shoving it in his pocket. He then takes his jacket and zips it on. Only when he stoops beside the bed, rummaging under it, I spot the brown bag. He takes it and wears it strap shoulder. "Do you know how I can get out from here without being seen?" he asks, wearing his shoes. "There is a fireplace in the room at the end of the aisle. We use that one to go to the burrow. At this hour I don't think anybody will be there. Are you going to the burrow?" But he doesn't answer anything as he goes toward the door. "I'll come with you," I say, eager, springing to get my jacket from the hanger. "You won't," he says, shaking his head darkly. "You are going back to Hogwarts." "No, Dad, I thought about it. I can study at home," I affirm, thrusting my right arm in the sleeve. "There is no reason for me to go there. Besides Rose, of course, and that is a huge reason why I cannot leave Dad alone." "Yes, there is every reason, and you are going tomorrow morning, as soon as Grandson comes here." "What about James?" My jacket is dangling from my shoulder. His firm sentences, her mean expression stating it, had frozen me in mid-gesture. "He's gone." "When?" "I don't know. He was already gone by the time I woke up." "And Sunny?" "Gone too." Watching his eyes that had hardened considerably in the last exchange, I know I cannot drop the matter. He must know I'm on his side, and I will leave him alone. "I'm coming with you," I state firm, thrusting the other arm in the sleeve. "Albus, I said no. You'll go to Hogwarts." The sentence is uttered with such a severity. I wince. "What about Summer?" I murmur unsteady, while Dad is already on the door, giving me his back. "You will do what we will tell you to do." "Which is?" But Dad doesn't answer. His head on the knob. He's about to go, but I don't want him to. "I'll write to you," I say, to retain him, but not even this sentence gets an answer. "You will reply, if I do, won't you?" I plead with a small voice, and as silence again is my only answer, I repeat, "Won't you?" He pushes the door open, leaves the doorknob, and he is gone from the room. Panic rises so fast, my heart starts to beat crazily. I stumble behind him unsteadily, and when I get to the room with the fireplace, a green flame is already dancing in it. Dad is about to step inside. "Dad, please take me with you!" I gabble basically in tears. "He cannot go. Not now. Not like that. I waited for a week for him to wake up. For a week I slept on an uncomfortable armchair. I guarded him almost every second. For a week I hoped and I feared. And when it miraculously happened, he barely talked to me. He barely noticed me." Dad stops in front of the fireplace, hearing my pleading. One of his hands is already on the mantelpiece, and the greenish light of the flames reflects in his eyes, emphasizing their color, consequently emphasizing mine too. Please, I repeat, breaking down. I start say confused, rubbing my face. I need him to reassure me. I need to confide him about what is troubling me, about Mom and how I miss her, but also about Rose, how much I love her. I need him to take the lead and solve my problems. I need him to be my father. Please, I repeat in a strangled voice that dies in my throat. And Dad turns to look at me, hearing the pleading tone, and the mean expression is gone for a moment, seeing my tears, replaced by pity and a deep sadness. Come here, he says, gesturing me to come forward. When I do, trying clumsily to check my sobbing and mopping up my tears ashamed, he enfolds me in a tight hug, exactly the one I needed. I cannot take you with me. I must stay by myself. You'll be safe in Hogwarts, he whispers. But what will you do? I'll manage, don't worry, he says, loosening the hug and rubbing my arms with a smile. And what about summer? The smile vanishes quickly. I think Ron is right. You should go there and do your best to forget you are my son. I gap, horrified, but Dad is already stepping into the fireplace. Don't follow me, and don't let anybody else see there, he admonishes, but then, staring at me straight into the eyes with a totally different tone, he says, Bye, Albus. Take care. And that stare speaks so much anguish. I get this unexplainable, terrorizing hunch that this might indeed be the last time I see him. No, Dad, wait! I rush. But he has already shouted our address, and is gone.